So the complicated thing about farming in a city like Philadelphia is that this land in particular is owned by the Redevelopment Authority. And unfortunately, the city is not currently giving out lease agreements for farms or green spaces or community gardens in any form. And so we are not able to get even a short-term or long-term lease for this land. And so even though it's been a farm for about 10 years, that is what you really need to create a thriving farm, is you need to be able to plan for the future. And so the city is not really prioritizing green space for farms or gardens, and we're not able to have that kind of straightforward lease agreement with the city. We are at the Terra Luna Farm. It is an herb and flower farm in the Norris Square neighborhood of Philadelphia. We grow a lot of medicinal perennial herbs, and then we do a lot of cut flowers that we sell to florists and some local grocery stores and to the folks in Philadelphia. We're in the sort of perennial area of the farm right now. This is my favorite flower called hellebore. We're really lucky that we inherited lots and lots of perennial bushes here on the farm. So we've got some beautiful foliage. This is called ninebark. So this land turned into a farm because the previous owner of the warehouse next door, she was interested in growing flowers, and she decided to take it upon herself to look at this land that was sort of covered in trash, not being used for anything, and build up a farm from the ground up. And so she owned the warehouse, she started cleaning up the land, and she started building all the raised beds that we're now growing in. She actually moved away a couple of years ago, and that's why I took over this space. So now we rent from the new owners in the warehouse next door, and again, the land is still owned by the Redevelopment Authority. So most of the flowers in the US are actually imported from other countries. They are flown on planes, they're covered in plastic, and they were also likely cut maybe a week or 2 weeks prior to you purchasing them. So not only are they flown across the world, they're covered in plastic, they were cut a really long time ago, they're also probably covered in chemicals. And so we are trying to change the narrative of the flower industry in the US to show that you can get local seasonal flowers that are just as beautiful, probably will last a lot longer, and are not covered in chemicals. Over here we've got our snapdragons and our perennial herbs. So we've got some thyme and sage and mints and oregano. So those are a really, really nice crop every single year. These are our snapdragons. So this is a big season for snapdragons right now. They're a gorgeous color of orange. The Philadelphia Flower Guild is a really wonderful organization that was started a few years ago by Jenny Love from Love and Fresh Flowers. She was one of the only local flower farms that I'm aware of for the past 10 years or so, and she was always pushing the value of local flowers. And so she gathered, I think, 7 or 8 local flower farms within 30 miles of Philadelphia to come together and create sort of a cohort or a guild of growers that local florists can source their flowers from. So we, every week, we list our flowers on a website called Rooted, and then those local florists who are willing to buy from us will go on and shop on that website. All the farms drop off at the Flower Guild, and all of the florists are able to get all of their flowers locally. So the great thing for me as a grower is that we kind of have a built-in customer base already, florists who are willing to buy locally. And it's also a really good support system as a grower. You're able to ask questions of other local flower growers and kind of create a community that way. So it's a really unique situation here in Philly, but I think that it's catching on in a lot of different areas, and florists are more willing to buy locally if the flowers are really high quality and there's lots of different varieties of them. So working with other flower farms to create that really nice product base is really important. I think urban farming is so important. I think that there is a lot of talk about community gardening and, small spaces in the city being used for gardening, but I also think there needs to be more urban farming. And so I would like to be kind of a symbol of that personally, and I would like to expand the business here too. But I would like to stay in Philadelphia as long as I possibly can.